like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Education. Today is Wednesday, August 12th. Stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to commence the reading of the mission statement. We are committed to academic achievement and success for all students in a safe environment. In partnership with families in our community, our mission is to promote confidence, inspire a passion for learning, and to prepare our students to become responsible global citizens. Is there a motion to approve the revised agenda?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion so carries. Now we'll have a presentation, the SSEC presentation by Dr. Hassler.
Good evening, everyone. You should have a copy of the presentation in front of you. Thank you to the board for the opportunity to present this evening. This is our annual presentation on our school safety and educational climate data. This is data that is submitted annually to the State Ed Department. It is for the previous year. This is our 25-26 data. I can jump right into it. Commissioner Regulation 100.2 requires all schools to annually report violent and disruptive incidents that occurred in school for the previous year. The data that we're going to be speaking about tonight is broken down into 11 different categories. The state is very specific about the criteria that is required to categorize the data within each of these areas. The data ranges from just the number of incidents as well as to more detailed information, including victims, offenders, interventions, consequences that are given in each of the different incidents. However, the information that I'm going to be presenting this evening represents just the information that is publicly accessible information, meaning that some of the incidents where there may be only a small number of incidents, the more detailed information could contain some personally identifiable information, which is obviously not going to be publicly accessible. So the information that I'll be speaking to you and presenting on this evening is only the information that will ultimately be available to the general public on the State Ed website. So I'll give you a little bit of a historical view on this. This is our information 3 years ago for the 23-24 school year. The 11 categories are listed across the top. They are homicide, sexual offenses, assault, weapons possession, DASA incidents that are not cyberbullying, DASA incidents that are cyberbullying, bomb threats, false alarms, threats of violence, use, possession, sales of drugs, use, possession, or sale of alcohol. Those are the categories. The information has to be presented in 8 different areas across the school district. One is district-wide, which are students that are placed outside the boundaries of our 7 school buildings, and then it's presented, it's submitted also by our 7 brick-and-mortar schools within the school district. So once again, this is our data from the 23-24 school year. This is our data from now 2 years ago, the 24-25 school year. And this is our data for last year, the 25-26 school year. So this data is compiled by our building administrators at the end of the school year. We submit it in July. This year's data was submitted on July 17th. And we have board policy and state regulation that then requires us to present to the Board of Education following the submission of the data up to State Ed. So just to give you a little bit of a better idea of the trend of these different categories, the red represents any areas that saw an increase from the previous year. The green represents the areas that saw a decrease from the previous year, and the white boxes are areas that remain flat from the previous year. So we saw increases in a few different categories. There was an increase in the number of assaults and weapons possessions at the high school and district-wide, as well as a few of the DASA categories. There were some of the DASA categories that were also reduced. Overall, we saw a decrease in the number of threats of violence that we had across the school district. We did see a slight uptick from the previous year in the use, possession, and sale of drugs, both at the middle school and at the high school. For those board members that have been on the Board of Education for a number of years, you may recall that we have had pretty lengthy conversations over the years about our interventions regarding the use, possession, and sale of drugs, the various strategies that we've used in order to be able to address that, and that is something that certainly continues on into the future. So with that, I open up to any questions that you may have.
One question for me.
Sure.
So in past years, we've talked about kind of the legalization of marijuana and the accessibility being an impact factor here.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing the middle school number come up, that's kind of an uptick, not just from last year, but from the previous 2 years as well. Do you see the influence of marijuana? Is that primarily what we're seeing?
I would say that is something that we continue to feel is certainly an issue, and that's largely from the accessibility perspective. We're also seeing that not just from the accessibility perspective, but also from the level of sophistication that it exists. You know, it's not just, you know, the days of kids having, you know, a small amount of pot or marijuana with them. It now exists in many, many different forms, ranging from vapes to edibles and all sorts of different things. So I think that the accessibility combined with the sophistication of the way that it exists now continues to be something that is a major area of focus. Also, on the other end, we really are extremely intentional on the preventative side, where, you know, we've really ramped up our efforts both on student assemblies and presentations, education that exists in health classes because of you know, the legalization and the accessibility increase that currently is out there.
One follow-up question. It was my understanding that we had to report drug and marijuana separately. Is
Yep.
that still the case?
Now, right now, the category is universally use, possession, or sales of drugs. We do look at, within that bucket, we do individually look at the number of instances that are marijuana-related and other drug-related, and I will say to you that nearly all of them are continued to be marijuana or THC. Yep.
I also have a question. Considering that the numbers have increased year over year, what are the other mitigation strategies that we plan to put into place? I know you talked about intervention and things, but are those sufficient? Are we doing anything else?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of partnerships with a lot of community organizations. In fact, just a few weeks ago, we had a meeting with the Orange County Alcohol and Drug Abuse Council, where the board may recall that we have a prevention specialist that we received a grant in partnership with the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Council to have a K-12 prevention specialist. Last year, the individual that was in that position took another position in someplace else, and we are happy to report that it sounds like they're going to have somebody in place for us to start the school year. That position is really, really important for us because it's somebody who is placed directly within our school district, and the role of that job specifically is twofold. One is preventative, where they do student assemblies, they do presentations in health classes, they do presentations for parents at open houses, and, you know, they're available in the evenings during parent-teacher conferences. They also are very beneficial to us on the intervention side, where they do a program called Teen Intervene, where we have the ability that in the event that we have a student who's found in possession or in use of a chemical substance, we have the ability to refer them to this individual, and they provide direct support to that student. They also assist us in the event that, you know, the student needs more significant support, where they can make referrals to outside programs and that sort of thing. So we are continuously looking to try to find just both our resources within the school district, professional development for the staff, but also community and regionally based organizations to provide support in that way.
One thing I want to add to that, just for community awareness and those that might be viewing and listening, policy at the state and policy enforcement at the state and local levels is also something that we want to consider. The way that these vendors are licensed has also been a challenge. There are a lot of black market vendors that are out there. And our intent is to partner with local authorities to pretty much do what we can to prevent some of these things, and that, if nothing else, forewarn our students about the dangers and also what to look for. So that's something that I hope the public will give us a hand and support with.
Agreed.
Any other questions? Thank you, Dr. Hass. Next, we'll have a presentation by representatives of Generation Ready, Dr. Lauren Fajihu and Yolanda Carrion, introduced by Dr. Norman.
So, good evening, everyone, and thank you. When I joined, this district as superintendent 2 years ago, I committed to developing a long-term strategic plan to guide our district over the next 5 years. That commitment launched a thoughtful and comprehensive process. Our strategic planning team met regularly and included people from across our school community. Together, they helped identify 4 focus areas that have become the foundation of our district goals moving forward. During the 2025-26 school year, we partnered with Generation Ready, a strategic planning firm, to help us bring this work together. Representatives from Generation Ready are here this evening to share highlights of what we have accomplished together and to provide an overview of the process. Tonight's presentation will also serve as a springboard for a presentation by the Cabinet at the August 26th board meeting. At that meeting, we will take a deeper look at each of the 4 focus areas, including our long-term and short-term goals in each area, as well as action steps we will undertake during the upcoming school year. After 2 years of research, reviewing data, and most importantly, listening to our school community, one message stood out above all others. People want to know that they belong. That idea is at the heart of our strategic plan. We're working to create a school district where every student, every family, every staff member, and every community partner feels welcome, valued, and truly connected to Monroe-Woodbury. With that, I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Laura Fajihu and Ms. Yolanda Carrion from Generation Ready, who will provide an overview of the strategic planning process and the work completed to date. Laura Fajihu.
I'm very sorry for mispronouncing your name.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Norman. Okay. So good evening, everyone. We would like to, first of all, share our background with you so that you get to know us better. So, Dr. Fajihu.
Thank you so much, Board of Education members and Dr. Norman, for having us here. We're very excited to talk to you about this work. Laura Fajihu, I have been superintendent of schools in Westchester, and I was on the Chancellor's City. And in my retirement, Yolanda and I both do a lot of research work for different purposes with school districts. And so, having been a teacher, principal, and all the things in between, I really appreciate being here to talk about this particular, because we have tremendous opportunity here, speaking to people, listening to people, and I will say this, Dr. Norman made it very clear that every single voice matters, and so we hope to well represent those voices in this conversation.
Thank you. So I bring more than 4 decades of educational background. I started off as an ESL teacher in Puerto Rico. I was born in the Bronx, but I moved to Puerto Rico. And after that, I returned as a bilingual teacher. Then I have had the opportunity to direct the first freestanding ESL in the Bronx. which was very successful with 32 different countries represented there. Then from there, I became an elementary as well as a middle school principal. And then I became the community superintendent of where I was born, in District 7. And then I had the opportunity to be promoted up to Central Board, where I worked closely with Dr. Fejo, Laura, and also with the Chancellor, and I was the citywide superintendent or executive superintendent for the Family and Community Engagement Office. And community is so important to me, partnerships with families, voices, as Laura mentioned, also very important. This communication that should be a two-way communication is of extreme importance to us in terms of really, really letting everyone know that their voices do matter. And full disclosure, I have to also share with you that I live in the community, and I am so proud to hear the work and the commitment that this administration has to ensure that every voice is heard, that every community member feels part of the school system, and that it is about parents, it is about stakeholders in general, staff, and so on, and of course, to come together and really support our students. Thank you so much. So with that, we want to thank everyone from the administration, the stakeholders, students, staff, principals, et cetera. Thank you for this opportunity to have learned with you this past year, and it's the year to the day. Yesterday was my husband's birthday, and last year we met for the first time on my husband's birthday, so it's a year to the day that we have been working here with Monroe-Woodbury. And it is about, really building those relationships and this shared understanding of how the collaboration really strengthens our relationships. So, and this, once again, as Laura mentioned, the opportunities that will really help every student strive, persevere, achieve, and aspire.
So here's what we did to try to pull this all together. We did all the categories that Yolanda mentioned. We had focus groups. Across each and every school, we were in there. We had family, parent groups, parent forums, community forums. We talked to the administrators, and we talked to groups of students at every single level. And those were the focus groups where we collected a lot of our qualitative data. There was a survey that went out, so all of the surveys, and thank you for responding in the community. The surveys also contributed to the data that we collected in a quantitative forum. And then we did, I think the community forum was kind of an open forum. It wasn't like a focus group where we try to keep the information as confidential as possible. The community forum, we had activities that people engaged in order to get them thinking about the things the school district was focused on in order to give feedback, correlate.
And in regards to the survey development, it was a collaborative effort with members of the committee where everyone had the opportunity to look at questions and develop them based on what they already know about the community and what are the needs. And in terms of the forums, we had 2 in-person forums, and then one was virtual, where the parents had the opportunity to go through different learning stations to get to know, for example, what are the expectations when it comes to achievement? What are the accessibilities or the opportunities that students and families have in terms of knowing what other opportunities they can really take advantage of? Then the other one was about safety in terms of the responses, how schools respond, and so on. And then the last one, the community, in terms of their voices, that they want to be part of, continue to be part of this collaboration with the schools. So in general, it really gave us a good perspective of that parents feel very happy of what is going on in the schools, but they want to continue to be part of the whole process.
So these are the numbers. The Strategic Planning Subcommittee members, there were 40 on that committee. We met with them periodically to keep updating them. This is the culmination of those sessions. Participants that accessed the survey was 4,524, but we included the ones that completed the survey. So we didn't include specific ones because it was an open forum for individuals to go in. Sometimes people went in to look at the questions, but did not necessarily respond. So that is the number that we included. Focus groups altogether, all the ones we mentioned, there were 322 live individuals in our focus groups. Parent participation and community forums, 25. So we had close to 5,000 individuals contributing to this conversation. And we did find some common themes.
So first of all, there was, across all schools, evidence of strong foundations in inclusivity, clear expectations, and also student achievement. One of the things that we clearly heard also is that everyone is so involved in really supporting students and helping students that was a commitment that was really clear. Unified systems also, predictable and connected operations across the schools was evident. Equitable access, where they were visible, they were reachable, and opportunities, and also supports for every student, as well as the two-way communication. This reciprocal communication is something that it has been evident throughout our journey, where parents want to be not spoken at, but spoken with, that they're part of this whole process, that actionable feedback is shared among all students, staff, and families. So what we're looking at is to continue strengthening coherence, right? Visibility and communication, because there are a lot of opportunities, a lot of good things that are happening in the district, but it's a matter of continuing to strengthen these to ensure that the stakeholders experience the district's priorities in a clear and consistent and connected way. And I always say that I connect the strategic plan as the DNA of the district, which is something that everyone feels part of, you know, through actions and relationships.
So here were the common themes across all of the priorities. On the left side, we have growth opportunities identified across stakeholders. And on the right side, you have district-wide strengths identified across. So there is, I'm going to start talking from the left, from the right and move to the left. So there's, as was mentioned, strong confidence in staff and the commitment they have to students. And as a next step, the community and all of the participants really felt that they wanted to further strengthen that communication across stakeholder groups. So just making sure everyone has the same message, and as Yolanda mentioned, that reciprocal communication, that it's a dialogue rather than just information. There was a clear appreciation for academic offerings and extracurricular offerings. And on the other side, the next step was to expand student voice in the decision-making and daily school experiences. So where student voice could be applicable further the opportunities that are there. There was a recognition of caring, inclusive school communities. And then as a next step, enhance emotional safety, belonging, and equitable access for all students. We use the word equitable, even though it was something that stuck out to us. But different schools have different opportunities. And so some of that was more across schools rather than inside of schools in comparison. And then there's an incredible Monroe-Woodbury pride here. I'll tell you that we didn't double count, but some people came to more than one. Really hear what other people were saying with an earnest feeling that they want to know what other people think. And so the next step is increase that transparency about the process and decision making. And I'd just like to point out, these are the same things we said inside. We have a witness. These are the same things we said at the subcommittee meetings, in the public meetings. This is a transparent, high level for the board to see all the things that we talked about throughout this 1 year that we've been here. So we want to just know that it is in complete open and from the superintendent and the cabinet straight through each one of these.
And in regards to the pride, when we had the forums of parents, they were students at, in the district and so on, and they have their children here too. That sends a positive message in terms of the caring and the feeling that they have and the pride that they have for the district. Okay, so we're going to share with you the process that we went through. One of the things that, and Dr. Norman mentioned it, is about the listening, right? Listening, hearing all voices. That helps to clarify purpose and focus. It also surfaces strengths and opportunities. Okay? There are gaps and so on, but we see these as opportunities to continue to grow and to ensure that every voice is represented. And this is something that we heard through all stakeholders, the students also, great students that really want to make a difference and really support the district. And then the dialogue, make meaning together. In other words, we talked about outcomes, but also thinking about reflecting on these and thinking about what are the next steps, really thinking out of the box. Whole design, and that's something that we just mentioned a while ago, the survey questions and the prompts. So it was something that was done, once again, collaboratively, where everyone had input, and used also collegial feedback to refine insights. We had the opportunity to meet with the leads of the committees and so on, and we shared also the information and provided insights. Data analysis, of course. So once we received the results, it was to look at patterns and do a deep dive into the survey findings and highlight the strengths, the gaps, and also the surprises, right? The things that maybe we had not thought about at the moment. What does this mean, and how do we then address it? And also then internalize the community perspective. And the last one, of course, is where we are right now, is the goal setting, choosing the direction, right? Reflecting once again on what the community has told us, shared, brainstorming and shaping these draft goals. I mean, it's nothing that's written, forever. It can constantly change and so on as we continue to evolve. And also, once again, building that coherence and consistency as well as accountability. We're all responsible for this, that there is coherence and consistency throughout the whole school, throughout the schools and throughout the whole district.
So this is the very highest level, the 4 focus areas. And you'll, August 26th, see the details of this. But for the achievement, strong academic foundations, widespread use of data, but uneven visibility of how achievement gaps and goal alignment are addressed across schools. So again, each school is doing something incredible, but this looked at it across schools. For opportunity, the feedback showed strong support for diverse learning pathways, but highlighted uneven awareness, access, and implementation. So people not knowing until the moment when they needed it, right? How far in advance do individuals know things? Does that come to their attention? For a community, it was strong culture of respect and inclusion with very trust and family engagement, which highlights need for deeper cohesion. So the same methods of communicating may need to change in terms of getting that message out. Not that these are not the right ones, there just may be additional individuals. And then physical safety and emergency response were very highly rated in terms of the feedback that we got, both qualitatively and quantitatively. And so, some of the data that you looked at in terms of students is where it was mixed. So that's clearly being
right. So the data has shown that there are a lot of great things that are happening in Monroe-Woodbury. It's about how do we then even go deeper into, whatever it is that we have in place and so on, and to really ensure that we're all communicating and that we're all consistent with this communication and coherence in understanding what are the expectations. So with the end in mind, the strategic plan is what we hope to continue to plan together, act and measure so that we can continue to grow together. So the process is vision and goals, starting off with clarity, right? And you have a defined 5-year strategic plan, and we're establishing the year 1 milestones with also an implementation plan. Review and accountability, committing to transparency, as Laura has mentioned. There will be embedded trimester cycles of review where the staff and committee members will come back together to share what has been happening in the schools, in the district, and so on, just to measure and see how things are going. And then there will be also an annual evaluation and public reporting cycle as well. The stakeholder engagement that is, reciprocal is something that we will continue throughout the whole process to listen and respond, because it's very important. And this, once again, as a cyclical process, is something that will continue to evolve. Today we have this type of goal, but as we continue to work together and have those conversations, it might look a little different later on. Monitoring and evaluation, measuring what matters, identifying qualitative benchmarks, but also quantitative benchmarks to identify also what are some gaps for further considerations. And last but not least, feedback and revision, where we evolve together. Planning continuous feedback loops, that's very important, and that's something that we heard from parents. Revisiting the data for actionable insights, and also to use the results to inform systems and structures.
So these are on August 26th, when you see each of the 4 category plans, these are the sections of what will be in each location and the structure that was determined both in our research as well as partnering with the strategic plan.
Once again, it's about, shaping it all together. It's, all stakeholders really having those conversations, supporting each other. We invite any questions?
So I have some comments to close us out. I want to first and foremost say thank you. And I want to validate my thank you for the public. And I really want people to internalize what I'm about to say. Before we partnered with you, we had very little as it relates to our goal of implementing a strategic plan, meaning that we had no data, meaning that we had not received feedback from the public. And let me just tell you what that entails. It's not as simple as sending out a survey and hoping people respond. There's an art, there's a science to it. We had to create a survey through your help, which was instrumental. Then the timing, the forums, when to send it out. To get thousands of responses is tremendous. Look up the research. That typically doesn't happen when you ask feedback. It just doesn't happen with those numbers typically. You were able to guide us and help us to accomplish that. But once you get feedback, what does it mean? Making meaning of feedback is extremely difficult work. For you to capture the voices of all people and to help us to make meaning of that, that's huge. And I want to thank you for that. Just for getting us to this point where now we can talk about your goals is tremendous work. I would also be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the stakeholders. So I want to begin, internally with the teachers, administrators, certainly the people who served on the strategic planning committee. You saw on the screen opportunities for growth. I appreciate two things from our stakeholders. A, lending your voice, the candor that you brought into this process. And secondly, reading those opportunities for growth. You have to realize that we are a community of very prideful educators. And it stings, as it should, when someone tells you that you're not hitting the mark as it relates to serving children. I really appreciate the stakeholders for, A, taking those opportunities of growth seriously. And I can tell you, as a person who's responsible for this district, it was very painful hearing things that we're not doing well, at least from the perspective of the community. So I thank you for that. Now, so we've spent the past 2 years going through this process, and now it's time to stop talking, planning, and implement a year of action. That's where we are. I'm asking the public to hold us accountable. You have given us your voice, which means you are trusting that when you responded, we're going to do something about it. And I'm telling you on camera, record it. This is going to be a year of action. We're going to set goals, and we're going to accomplish those goals. That's going to start on August 26th with these 4 focus areas. They're going to be developed into district goals. I'm asking the board to adopt and approve those as district goals. And we're going to explain each goal and action steps associated with it. You heard our presenters tonight say that there's going to be accountability throughout the year, meaning that we're going to stand before the public and we're going to show you the progress in objective form. We're going to have measurements of success as we go through the year. And I have every belief that we're going to be successful in accomplishing our goals at the end of the year. So again, I want to just thank you for your presentation. Thank you to the public for trusting in us. And more importantly, we're going to be successful and make a difference for children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Generation Ready. There are no comments or questions from interested citizens for today's agenda. Motion to approve the professional learning plan for 26-27.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion so carries. Motion for approval of tax rolls, tax warrant, and established tax rates for 2026-2027.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion so carries. Motion to approve the district-wide safety school team for the 26-27 school year.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion so carries. Next, we have a presentation of the district-wide school safety plan for the 26-27 school year by Mr.
Yeah, I would say it's not exactly a presentation. I'm more just going to kind of speak to the district-wide safety plan. So each year, school districts in New York State must approve a district-wide plan and the team, which we just did. The district-wide plan is a high-level public document that outlines the plans and the practices of the school district in the realm of school safety. So the district-wide plan is a public document. We post it to our website, unlike the individual school-based emergency response plans, which are confidential. The sequence of events is we're sort of presenting this to the board. We have it on the board agenda. We shared the plan with the district-wide safety team. That's part of their role, is to have input on the plan. In general, the plan is largely unchanged from last year. Each year there can be regulatory changes, et cetera, through the state ed department. So this year, I would say the one exception to the change, the new requirement, is a water safety section. And there's a mandate for school districts to distribute water safety information to all the families in the district, and thereafter any new families. So in terms of our process now, the plan is going to be posted to the website for a 30-day commentary period. Typically, we don't get a lot of commentary on the plan, and thereafter there'll be a hearing, and the board would adopt the plan 30 days after that.
Thank you, Mr. Cahill. Any
Welcome.
questions? Okay. There a motion to approve personnel items 11.1 to 11.24.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I forgot. Motion to approve the minutes of the July 22nd, 2026 Board of Education meeting.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carried. Now on to personnel. Motion to approve personnel items 11.1 to 11.24.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion so carried. Motion to approve business and financial items 12.1 to 12.7.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion so carry. Any opposed? Motion so carries. Motion to approve committees on special education and preschool special items 13.1 to 13.5.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion so carries. Reports by board and central office. Dr. Hassler.
I'd like to just share a quick thank you to our building administrators for assisting with the aggregation of all of the data for the SSCC submission and presentation. It's many pages of manual data entry by building. Also, a big thank you to our clerical, particularly in the curriculum instruction office, because they take all of the data that's sent to us by the buildings and they manually enter it into the business portal to upload to state ed. So thank you to everybody for the painstaking work in compiling that and preparing it. Finally, just a quick shout out to our summer school team. Next week is graduation. Summer school has been great. Looking forward to the district being able to celebrate all of our summer grads. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Hassler. Trustee Novak.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to thank all of our presenters tonight for the great information, and I'm really looking forward. I think we have a very strong foundation. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Dr. Morales.
I would like to thank the teachers and administrators who made both SPELL and our summer enrichment programs possible. This year, for our return of summer enrichment, we had 167 students participate over a total of 12 different courses. And while the return this summer was very small in scope to years past, we are eager to build on what was successful this year and what we could do better. So while we've received feedback from our teachers, we will be asking parents of children who participated for their feedback as well. I am going to preemptively congratulate Ms. Katie Wolf on her new position as assistant principal at Pine Tree. I know Mr. Berger will too. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. And that's it. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Trustee Vega.
Hi, good evening. Thank you to the presenters today, and I look forward to the August 20th graduation as well.
Thank you. Mr. Berger.
Good evening. We had a lot of items under HR this evening as we continue to work hard to get our buildings and our departments fully staffed and ready to go for September 1st. So we're getting closer. So thank you to the board for your support in that. Dr. Morales stole my thunder a little bit, but I do want to, formally recognize Catherine Wolf as our next assistant principal at Pine Tree. So congratulations as well to Catherine. And under retirements, we had one retirement listed for October, actually, and it is a special education teacher from Smith Clove, Mrs. Dina Armstrong. I've had the privilege to teach alongside Dina and also work as an administrator alongside Dina, and I could say that she certainly has had an incredible impact on our district and our students, our families, our community and staff as a whole. So I just want to thank her for her dedication over the last 30 plus years to Monroe-Woodbury, and I wish her the best in her upcoming retirement in a few months from now. With that, have a great evening.
Thank you. Trustee Reynolds.
Welcome to our new teammates. Ms. Wolf, thank you for stepping up to a leadership role. I know you'll do great. Congratulations to Ms. Armstrong for well-earned retirement, and have a safe summer. Look forward to the first day of school.
Thank you. Trustee Tillman.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to all the presenters tonight. I just want to say I'm looking forward to hearing some more of the preventative measures that are being taken to make sure that our schools are safe, especially in the middle school throughout the year. And thank you for all the data that was collected. As a principal, I understand the pain. So. Have a good night.
Dr. Reyes.
Good evening, everyone. We are making a very good progress of implementing our Syntegix crisis alert system in all our instructional and non-instructional buildings. Over the last 2 weeks, we have been testing this system for their connectivity, their visibility, and their integration with the other systems. And the results are so far very positive, though we learn from every single test, and then we modify the next test to make our systems better. A big shout out to all the building administrators for their support, Joe Tripoto and his team, and a technology team to make this possible. We are very close to go live in the next few weeks. So on that note, enjoy the rest of the summer.
Thank you. Mr. Cahill.
Thank you. So I just wanted to take a moment to remind everyone that although the board just approved tax levy, the tax warrant, and the tax rates, the district tax levy increased by 1.95%. Talked about this last year. The actual tax rate changes can vary across the 5 towns that make up the school district, and that's largely having to do with state equalization rates. And I talked about this approximately a year ago. Changes in the local tax bases and actually changes in a local assessment. So all those variables affect how someone's tax bill changes. In terms of our levy increase at 1.95%, the actual variation in the tax rates are from a low of minus 1.4% for the town of Monroe to a high of 4.6% for the town of Woodbury. And those are the 2 segments, the 2 towns that make up the bulk of our school district. Again, 1.95 is the part of the equation we can control, the increase in the levy. And after that, it's state equalization rates, it's changes in local tax bases that affect the actual rates that are applied to properties. So I want to remind everybody about that and echo sentiments of others shared this evening. Send my congratulations to newly hired folks and wish everyone all the best this summer. Have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Donahue.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank Dr. Hassler for the safety climate presentation
and thank both of you ladies for Generation Ready presentation. It was very informative, and we look forward to developing those goals. I'd also like to welcome Ms. Wolf. I'm sure you're going to be a great fit at Pine Tree. And congratulations to Ms. Armstrong on her retirement. I'd like to wish all our students who are taking them good luck on next week's Regents exams. And I can't wait for next week's graduation. Enjoy the rest of the summer and have a good evening.
Thank you, Dr. Norman.
Okay, I won't repeat all that I said, but I do echo those thoughts. And lots of things happening this summer, lots of construction, lots of training. Don't want to rush it, but we are anxiously awaiting the return of our students and faculty and staff. So we are preparing opening day presentations. We do have an agenda. I won't steal your thunder. I don't know if you're going to mention the law conference, but we did attend that. Okay, I'll let you share that. But we are constantly training and preparing throughout the summer, and I'm very proud of the progress that we're making and feel confident that we're going to kick off a great year. So with that, enjoy the final few weeks of the summer and come back bushy-eyed, bright, ready to go. Thank you. Have a good evening.
We're going to have to get a lot of snow days in order to make up for rushing school back. That's what it is. As Dr. Norman mentioned, myself, Trustee Dr. Santacole, who is here today, and a group of Monroe-Woodbury admins and special education folks, we attended the 17th Annual School Law Conference last Friday. It was very informative in terms of making sure that we were up to date in terms of new legislation, laws, court cases, how those cases will impact not only the current form of education, but future. So very informative. I think there was one specific example that was very, very, very relevant to us, and it is a constant state of learning. So I want to thank everyone who took the time. It is not in the summer, taking 8 hours to sit at a conference is usually not on everyone's top of their bucket list, but everyone was engaged. It was very informative. I walked away with new information that I did not have. I mean, I think law is fantastic, but I think the constant want to make sure that this district stays at the forefront of everything that is new, making sure that we're prepared, making sure that as we look at our strategic plan, as we look at our policies, we're making sure that we are not only compliant, but we are prepared for any changes that are coming down the pike to make sure that we are providing the best, most flexible environment for our students. So I want to thank everyone who took the time to put that together. Thank you to Dr. Hassler. Like the other folks said, I do look forward to hearing more about the mitigation strategies that we plan to put into place to see those numbers trend downward in the next year. Monroe-Woodbury is still one of the most phenomenal school districts. Continue to the ladies, thank you so much for the work that you have put in on the strategic plan. I had the pleasure of being in on a couple of sessions. Everyone was engaged, very well thought out, very well put. And thank you to every single person who took the time to lend their expertise, lend their opinions, be very honest in their feedback. It is what helps us be the special district that we are. You saw the theme of Crusader Pride. That is the absolute fabric of this. Proud of our school district. We are proud of the products of our school district. Generations of families have run through this school district, and they run the gamut of success, and we want to continue to see that. Thank you for helping. And finally, congratulations to all of the summer graduates. You have put in the work, and you finally get to have your moment. Congratulations to you. I unfortunately will not be there, but I am going to send you congratulations. Definitely earned it, so please make sure. And with that, enjoy the rest of your I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion so carries. Tonight's meeting is adjourned.